Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, news has just came out, and it's breaking news, as a matter of fact, out of New York City. Shout out New York. And it's about the woman that was set on fire by Sebastian Zapata, the migrant that set a woman on fire on the F train and watched her burn out there in Coney Island, New York. And the woman has been identified. And a lot of you guys are sending me stuff saying, hey, this is the woman, this is her name. And a lot of people was running rampant on the internet. And I told you I couldn't do that until the media came out. Come to find out, everybody was wrong. And this is why, you have to pay attention to things and get, make sure they're valid when you're doing stuff on the news. But the woman is identified as 61-year-old Debrina Kawam of Toms River, New Jersey, and she was in fact homeless. Take a look at the story. This is what they have so far.
So breaking news at noon back here in New York. The woman who was set on fire and who was killed in that Brooklyn subway car has now been tentatively identified. That's how police are describing it. They say the victim appears to be 61-year-old Debrina Kawam. They believe that she was homeless, sleeping on the subway cars when she was killed. She was originally from Toms River, New Jersey. Fingerprints and DNA evidence were among the tools that helped pinpoint her identity. A suspect now in custody, as you see photos of him here.
Just into the newsroom, police have identified the woman who was set on fire and killed on a subway last Sunday. Police say her name is Debrina Kawam, and she's from New Jersey. Investigators say a man used a lighter to set Kawam's clothes on fire as she slept inside the train car at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue station. It happened on December 22nd. A grand jury indicted Sebastian Zapata with the crime, charging him with murder and arson. He's due back in court on January 7th.
Yeah, guys, that's the story, or the recent news, or news that broke. The woman is 61 years old, and her name is Debrina Kawam. Homeless woman from Toms River, New Jersey. I think, honestly, they knew who she was for a little while until they notified next of kin, and then they came out. I got to be honest with you. This took longer, it took a shorter amount of time than what I thought it was going to take, especially when you extracting DNA from a burn, a burned subject. But they got her name out. They said it's tentatively who she is. Remember, they still got her dental records, and it still doesn't make this story any better. It doesn't, especially with the horrific nature and background that came behind it. Now, we said all we can say about this guy, Sebastian Zapata, but I'm going to show you an article that I was going to do on him, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that as well. Take a look at this real fast.
Adams is pushing for federal investigators to charge the man accused of torching a woman to death on a Brooklyn subway train. Lori Bordenauer reports there was a vigil tonight to remember the victim.
That young lady that was on the subway, we're praying for her family at this time.
Holding hands and saying a prayer, community leaders gathered on the F train platform at the Stillwell station in Brooklyn Thursday, remembering the woman burned to death Sunday morning and condemning the violence.
Homeless lives matter. She was burnt up so bad that the police cannot even identify who she is.
Investigators say 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata, a Guatemalan citizen who ICE officials say entered the U.S. illegally, used a lighter to set the sleeping woman's clothes on fire. According to the criminal complaint, Zapata used a shirt to fan the flames, engulfing the victim in seconds and killing her. This photo appears to show Zapata sitting on a platform bench, watching the woman burn as an unsuspecting officer walks by. That officer's body camera capturing a clear image of the suspect, which officials say led to the arrest a few hours later.
It's not just the person's fault, it's the system's fault. The system failed.
Reverend Kevin McCall taking aim at the city, saying there were no fire extinguishers on the train and claims the responding officer had no support. But on Sunday, the NYPD's chief of transit said several officers responded and praised their efforts.
I think he did his job perfectly, as his fellow officers went and got MTA workers, got fire extinguishers, and eventually were able to extinguish the individual.
Mayor Adams' office says he's now pushing for federal charges against Zapata. In a statement saying in part, Lighting another human being on fire and watching them burn alive reflects a level of evil that cannot be tolerated. Community leaders say jail is not the answer, instead pushing for more services devoted to mental health.
It's not enough that the perpetrator was caught, but then there's nothing put in place to ensure that this does not happen again.
Sebastian Zepeda is charged with arson and murder. His motive still unclear. He'll appear back in court on Friday. Lori Bordenaro, CBS News, New York.
Okay, guys, I wanted to show you that for a couple of reasons. Number one, they said that he snuck back into the country almost immediately after getting put out, right? Then they said Mayor Adams supposedly wants the feds to pick this up. The feds should pick this up. You heard what they said? Another human being setting a human being on fire should never be tolerated. And it's a different type of evil. And it is. And his ass wouldn't have been here if the government really put the time and real effort into keeping people out of here or giving them stern warnings. If your dumb ass come back across this line, we're going to kill you if we catch you doing a crime. They should have did that. But yet and still, a woman that was already down on her luck was out of luck by getting set on fire by this dude that shouldn't have been here in the first fucking place. You heard the guy talking, the community leader or whatever he was. It's not just the person's fault, it's the system's fault. Then did you hear what the news people said? Oh, somebody says that more time and effort needs to be put into mental illness rather than the person that did it himself. Let me explain something to you. The only way to quell violence is with violence. And it sounds crazy, but violence is a universal language that only some people understand. And they live by it and they die by it. So it need to be one of them punishments that are on the table. Now they're saying, oh, he's mentally ill and this and that, this and that. I talked about him having a rant saying he hated locals. So this is violence against the local because he didn't like the way he was treated and he had problems within himself and he decided to set this woman on fire. He was drunk when he did this. It ain't got nothing to do with his mental health. He was willfully drunk. Then he fanned the flames. So I don't want to hear shit about mental illness or anything like that when a woman was burned to death that didn't deserve it. See, this is the thing. This is a terrorist act. No more, no less. It's a terrorist act. You set somebody on fire like a third world country and sat there and watched them burn and probably didn't even know this woman. He was just dissatisfied. And another thing I meant to add, and I'm glad this video came up for me to say this, a lot of migrants are displaced. A lot of them are angry. A lot of them swallow their sorrows in alcohol, drug use, so on and so forth. And they're upset because a lot of them are out there in the street right now. And if you think this violence that you've seen right here is horrific, you wait for what's coming. You wait for what's coming. The ones that have are going to be made victims of the ones that have not and are dissatisfied with the ones that have. You watch. You watch. A lot of these people come from chaotic environments. And they're going to be doing some of the craziest stuff out here because they're dissatisfied with being sold a fake American dream. They were told they can come over here. Now all of a sudden they out in the street. These are human beings too. What you think they're going to sit there and just be dissatisfied? They're going to be upset. It creates envy, jealousy, deceit, devilment, and anger at the system that fucked them in the first place for bringing them over here and fucked all of us because a lot of us are victims of this dumb shit. Either way, man, the ladies identified this dude right here need to be put to death. For real. Get him out of here. You got him in the American justice system. He's not even American, and he showed he was American with the shit that he did. And for some odd reason, we got to deal in a civilized way with savage natured people. And this is another example of it. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. The more we talk about this story, the more of a sinking, sick feeling I get in my stomach. And it ain't got nothing to do with him being a migrant. That's just part of the storyline. But damn, under no circumstances should anybody succumb to any type of cruelty like that. That's all I got to say. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.